What's up, guys? Welcome to your 173rd Android tutorial for the new Boston. And what we're going to do in this tutorial is kind of the same thing that we did in the last tutorial, except instead of working with vertices, we're going to be working with indexes. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a private, instead of a float array, we're going to set up a private short array. That's going to basically hold our indexes or specific points. So we're just going to call this point index array or list. What we're going to set this equal to is basically we have 3 points, so we're just going to say 0, 1, and 2. Now we have to set up a buffer for our index points. And again, I know right now you guys might be lost about what we're doing, but it will wrap together and tie together, and you'll see it, what we have done, and everything will, for the most part, make sense. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up a private short buffer instead of a float buffer, since we're working with a short list. So we're going to say private short buffer. We're going to call this our point buffer, something like that. And then again, we're just going to add our imports. And now again, within our triangle constructor, we're going to set up our short buffer for the most part to relate to our indexes. So just give us a couple spaces here, and we're going to set up a byte buffer. Call this our point byte buffer, or point B for byte and buff, something like that. And we're going to say again, relate to the byte buffer class. And we just gotta, tell the buffer how much, how big the capacity needs to be, what it can handle, how many bytes we're working with. And when we're working with shorts, a short is 2 bytes. So as a float was 4 bytes, all we're going to do is relate to our list of our index list, get the length of that, and then times it by 2. So it's pretty much the same concept. We're just going to say p index dot length times that by 2 for 2 bytes per short. And then we're going to again say our point buffer, or we're going to say our point byte buffer, set it to native order, again just by referring to the byte order and saying dot native order. And again, all this line is doing, we're going to be calling a GL pointer function on these buffers, and in order to do that, we need to say it needs to be in native order. So basically the garbage collector won't be able to access this or move it or dump it. So that's what we need to set up, this native order code, and that's all that's doing is relating to, again, the byte buffer that we set up. And now what we're going to do is we're going to relate to our index buffer, which we called point buffer, or pbuff, and we're just going to say pbuff is equal to our pbbuff, or point byte buffer, and we're just going to say dot as short buffer, because again, we aren't working with a float buffer, we're working with shorts now, so we're just going to say we need a short buffer. And there we go. Now what we're going to do is, again, we're just going to say we're going to relate to our short buffer, and called pbuff, and all we're going to do is say dot put, and then we have to tell it what we want to put in there, and we're going to relate to our point index list. And then all we're going to say is move the position to 0 as well, and that's pretty much it. And we're going to do one more thing kind of like this for our textures, relating textures to a triangle, something like that. But we'll get to that in, again, probably a few tutorials, so you guys actually can see what these are doing when we get into the code, and then we'll come back and maybe do like a texture one if we have time, and then you guys can, the next time we go through this type of thing, you'll understand everything that's going on, why we set up these buffers and all that good stuff. But again, as for now, that's pretty much all we're going to do in this tutorial. Pretty simple as well. All we did is set up a new byte buffer that's going to be a short buffer, and handle our index, or our points, like point 0, point 1, point 2, instead of handling actual our actual all of our x and y values of those points and all that stuff, which we did in the previous tutorial with our vert buffer. I'll show you guys how we're going to use these as we go through this OpenGL series. But as for now, that's probably it. I know it's kind of a boring tutorial, but thanks again for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one.